My dudes, what's going on? Long story short, I ended up getting challenged by Lava to play a dark minigame, and I ended up winning 15 new pet companions known as piggies, which gives you auto loot, being able to teleport infinitely, and being able to access storage from anywhere. And I thought this would be a perfect idea to do giveaways for the free-to-play series. How you have a chance of win one of these piggies? In the comment section, leave a comment, leave your first character's name, and leave the secret word that I'll put within the video. Make sure you're liked and subscribed, and that's it. Good luck, and I hope you win one. Anyways, let's get into it. Now it's time to pick a winner from last video. Bone Jing, Alchemy Go Burr. So true, dude. Congratulations, man. What you need to do is join the Itty Bitty Army Discord so you can send me a DM. We'll make time for me to send you the piggy, and then I will add you as a friend and give you the bonuses on my main account so you can enjoy those juicy bonuses from a 10K account. Congratulations, my dude. Magic. We're back, and we have actually ended up with a troll key. I ended up taking a day of just farming, and believe it or not, Stilt Seekers actually takes a lot to even drop for what we need. So that was kind of annoying, and I ended up getting a stamp. I ended up farming the rest of the day at Flom's, getting some money. As you can see, I'm level 233, but that doesn't really matter because we're going to get most of those levels in World 5 anyways. We're pretty much all ready to go. I even ended up getting a few keys, not just one. So we have 6 attempts to get troll. We got a lot to explain after we get on in dirty with it. And as you can see, I changed my lighting a bit. I've kind of been at this point where I'm trying to, now that I'm in the new area, figuring out what the sweet spot is. So you might see a lot of changes throughout the time as this free-to-play series goes on. I mean, I already have. We're going to be getting going with that. So to start off, let's kill the troll. Well, technically you can't kill the troll. Now, troll works a little bit differently in comparison to the rest of the enemies. You actually can't kill him. You need to damage him, and then he gives you tasks that you need to do. You do the tasks, and if you do it correctly, you actually end up being able to... Well, I didn't do that right. Be able to damage him. As you can see, you can only do 10 damage. So this one requires us to take all of them out in 35 seconds. The other one was doing closest to the center. I mean, I just messed up because I'm bad. So this should be able to allow us to damage. Oh, we got one more. So most of them are actually pretty easy. So see, now that we're able to attack them, we can give them some damage here. And then with the crab one, since you only can attack the crab, I'm actually just going to straight up take off my weapon here. Slap it back on. And give him a good old slashing again. Okay, looks like we got another one. Same thing. So he's actually not too bad. He's a little tedious, but after you've done, I believe, all the tasks for him, like in the other task board, it actually makes it so you can just basically farm him out without doing all this, which is pretty nice. When Troll first came out, you weren't allowed to do that, and farming this boss took forever. 100 lines of damage. So, essentially what it means by 100 lines of damage is, well, I mean, double hits count as 2, and you need to get 100 of them. So, we're just going to do the reset with the auto attacks without hurting the green mushrooms. So, we're just going to go ahead and take this off again, just because it's nice and easy that way. Now, I could have put shrines in this, but what I recently hit was the shrines affect the town. So I actually don't want to do that. Now, they're really close for the green mushrooms, so it's easy for me to accidentally target one and take it out. So hopefully I don't do that. And obviously I didn't do fast enough. And then since I didn't, he healed. I'm getting a lot of the same tasks as well. So the nice thing about Troll is he's not necessarily a big damage sponge. He doesn't need to. You don't need a ton of damage to be able to take him out. You can just take your sweet time on him, because if you're able to get this far, you're basically able to take down all of the other minions. Therefore, you can take down the boss. We also have to roll for our new pet as well. It has been that weekly reset, so hopefully we get Ram this time around. Why am I not doing 2 lines of damage? Kind of weird. Need a 6. All right. It's a 1. I've actually never seen this one. Okay, nice. That must have been a new implementation. There it goes. Now I'm hitting double. Same thing before. Crabs, take off this. I think he's streamlined a lot of it as well. It's been a long time since I've actually had to do troll properly. There we go. Boom. Dunzo. And right there is the magma geode. This is what gets us into World 5. I've also, a little bit off stream, I ended up getting some more spices and some more meals. So we got corn. Corn is really good for skill efficiency. Super, super nice to have. And then we also got some lab XP, which isn't too bad. And salad for some cash for monsters. But I think I already got that. But enough of that. Let's make our way into World 5. Now we want to make sure to talk to the toucan. Be unlocked for us. Here we go. There it is. Welcome to World 5. This is where things start getting really exciting. Not only are some of the biggest bonuses in World 5, you're also really close to World 6, so you want to push that extra amount. Getting into World 6, I'm going to be honest with you, World 5 and World 6 are some of the biggest account boosts in this game by far. Of course, next to Alchemy, but that's like a slow cook. When I first started, or just in general now, is definitely, I would say, like the Gamba world, because all of the skills are a very, very RNG chance for the most part. Like, every single mechanic has a sense of RNG. All right, so, same as World 4, we got to make sure to talk to take his quest. So now he wants us to learn about sailing. I think we can just go ahead and enter, but we want to do the quest line first. Yeah, I think we can just enter. But we're going to do the quest line first. We want to learn about the skills, get that going. So we're going to go all the way down here, listen to what Moguba has to say. Let's go learn sailing. Put your captain in the boat by clicking the boat, then the captain. Next, go to the map and drag to the boat with the captain Safari Island. This is Siegebreaker's skill. We can buy more sailors, but it requires us a sailing level. Sailing is shared across the account too, by the way. On the left side is all the base materials that you get from islands, and all the right side are the rare materials they get from islands. So if you ever need to know which one is which, like for instance, you get the little small guy here on the left side with a chance of getting the bigger small guy, which I'll explain more once we get into that. But that's kind of just explaining the chest pile. Now, what he wanted us to do is, these are our sailors. Okay, these little guys, pretty cool, honestly. I love the little IdleOn character. And then we can click this boat and throw them in there. Then we need to go to this big map here. Click on the map, and then once says drag us to an island to find a new artifact for bonuses. To drag them to a cloud, discover a new island. Spend treasure the crew to upgrade boats. So, this is our crew. Say we want to, well, swap out a boat. You can hit the trash button. Apparently, you can't delete your own captain. You actually need to take him out of the boat first before you can delete him. I was going to mention that, but apparently it just won't let you even with one captain. So that's how to take them in and out. And if you will eventually get a max amount, and you're going to want to swap them out so you can just delete them that way. So you have 2 different upgrades. You have the boat slot and you have the captain slot. The boat will always give you loot value and speed. These are arguably, and artifact odds. These are arguably your 2 biggest things that you will essentially search for through your whole entire sailing journey. Your captains can have a RNG roll of what they have as their perks. You can have a max of 2 perks. It could be loot value, it could be boat speed, artifact find chance, it could be cloud discovery rate. The main ones that you really want to go for is loot value and boat speed. You'll eventually just go for, in the later game, you'll just go double loot value. But you will want to do a little bit of boat speed in the early game due to, well, you need to build up your boat speed first. This has a ton of islands. I think there's like 12 islands. This is some of the biggest upgrades to characters, because what their whole premise is they go to boats to try to find things called artifacts. Now, each artifact has a different boost, and each artifact can be upgraded by finding it again at a lower chance. First, it starts off with the normal, then goes to ancient, and then you need to find an upgrade that allows it to unlock to Eldritch, which is in the Rift, by the way. And then you'll have another one that is known as a sovereign artifact, which is unlocked in World 6. For now, let's just focus on unlocking the artifacts. There's a couple artifacts that you're going to need to try to force upgrade early. For instance, the first island, known as Safari Island. If you're wondering what it will drop, you just need to look at the name. Safari Island will give you these like little grass orbs, and that will help you for your upgrades when it comes to your boats. You don't need to worry about upgrading captains. What you need to worry about is making sure they get a good base value roll. Now, what I mean by base value roll is every captain that you buy new starts off at level 1. Every time they level up, those perks that they have increase in value. So for instance, say if you had like 3% at like, obviously I don't know the exact numbers. Let's just go with an arbitrary number. Let's just say if you get it to level 10, that 3% turns into like a 15% or an 18%. That's probably not exactly how that number works, but let's just do it for this example. If you've ever played Diablo and you're running the same thing over and over again, and you have the same piece of gear, but it has a low rolled stat, you want to keep on running it until you get the same piece of gear with a higher base stat. You would want to replace that captain if you had max captains with that other captain, because you could just level it back up, but in total, once it's leveled up to the same level, it's going to be way better due to its base value being way higher. In return, you're kind of just min-maxing that sort of scenario. So that's kind of how you want to work with captains. What your main goal right now, not to overwhelm, is just unlock all your captain spots and unlock all your boat slots, because you cannot just have captains running to find artifacts with no boat. So it's usually a 1-in-1. You need captains, you need the same amount of boats as the same amount of captains. And that's how you farm artifacts, and that's the whole premise of it. Now, when it comes to upgrading boats, I believe the first 4 are just with gold bars and boat speed, as you can see the upgrades here. So you can see that if I upgrade once, it'll go 10 to 15. Loot value will be going 0 to 10. Remember how all the boats are the same. Artifact odds, you can't upgrade that in the boats. This is eventually going to come to a point where you're going to need to use these materials in order to upgrade. There's also some materials that you're going to need for your alchemy bubbles later on. But for now, let's just focus on specifically, and it also helps to show identity, by the way, just so if you go into crew, you can see exactly which boat is running who. So for exchanging captains, it's nice and easy. That little grass icon that's blacked out is the same grass icon that is on map 1. As you can see here, as the same silhouette. So the top layer right here is Island 1. The second one is Island 2, the third one's Island 3, the fourth one's Island 4, and it goes all the way down to max. So whenever you need to know what you need to level up, you can actually just use the loot pile as a good indicator of what you need to farm, because sometimes it gets a little bit confusing. My rule of thumb is I would say loot value is good, but in the early game, making sure you get enough boat speed, because boat speed actually has a cap. Now, if you take a look here, now this island is going to take me 3 hours to get there. Now that's in a round trip. So that means 3 hours to the island and 3 hours back. And the items, the treasure or the loot, does not get deposited until it reaches back to the home island, which is the volcano, because we're in World 5. So once that is, then you'll see it show up in your temporary inventory, not your actual inventory, but your temporary inventory, which is right here, which is your loot pile. So then you don't have to worry about storage space with this, because all of this is kept in its own separate entity. So you can actually get the sailing time lower by more boat speed. There is other upgrades to reduce the minimum sailing time with the help of like Siegebreaker or shiny pets in World 4, but that's just baseline 2 hours. 2 hours no matter what. So if you feel like, oh man, I launched so much boat speed into this and I got 2 hours and it doesn't change, that's because it doesn't show anything different than 2 hours due to the minimum sail time. Because if you take a look at an island, it has a travel distance of 25 meters, okay? Each other island has a different meter in order for as long to take. For instance, if I return my boat and I throw it here, it will take 10 hours for the next one. So that means it is substantially higher in distance in comparison to the 3 hours. Now, You may think 1 round trip and it's done. Once you do a round trip, you will get a chest. A chest will give you a random sum amount of materials, or will give you a potential chance of getting rare materials. But the thing is he can claim multiple chests. The 3 hours doesn't mean that he's just one and done. Say if you're gone for 6 hours, that means he would have done in that 3 hour period, he would have gone boom, 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 boom. He would have made 2 trips, okay? So that means he would have gotten 2 chests. The only thing that's realistically stopping you is there is a max chest limit. So you're not gonna come back, like say if you left for a month, you're not gonna come back to 1,000 chests. The max that I can get in my endgame account is 29. I'm also not 100% sure of how many chests you start out with. I think it's like 7 or something. And then you can increase that amount through other means like task board and I believe gem shop as well. I need to make this clear just so this doesn't get out of the way and so people are asking. When we get, now that we're into World 5 gem shop, this is a waste. Do not spend gems on this. Miracle chest, no. Even though it looks enticing because you get 20 times more treasure and 30 times more artifact chance, no, it's not worth the money. This, bottle wind, no. Not worth it. Whale shit. Don't do it unless you're a whale. Do you think I'd be a person that would be like, oh, you know, spend all the money, you know, might as well. Hell no. I'm trying to give you the best bang for your buck for gems, man. These give you a sailing loot pile that can hold by +1. These aren't bad. I actually quite like the chest logos. If you want to, you can. This is also a scam. I mean, it's not a scam, but it's just not worth it. It used to be like maybe more worth it in the earlier times where Eldritch and Sovereign doesn't exist, but those do exist now. So this is not worth it anymore. Just don't even bother. Divinity Sparkies, we haven't gotten into Divinity yet, but these are actually a pretty good purchase. Okay, I actually really like the Divinity Sparkies because it pushes Divinity, because Divinity is a whole different entity that we will be explaining later on. I do suggest that you at least buy 1 golden sprinkler. Now, it's not a huge priority. It's not like you have to do it, but it's a good thing to, you know, think about. Don't do this. Don't do gaming fertilizer. No gaming fertilizer, no bottle wins. Do not do these. No. And gaming sprouts are also pretty good. Or lava sprouts. If you want to do lava sprouts, which is the gaming skill, it's not bad. So if you would like to do this, you can go ahead and do that. So just to give you a quick rundown, no chests, none of that, no bottle wins. That one's not bad. Big no on that one. This one's not bad. If you're tight for money, I would only do ×1 on that one. No, and yes. So that kind of gives you an idea of what you want to be going forward when it comes to the gem shop items, because I know I did it for every other gem shop. So I wanted to make sure that we at least covered World 5 going forward, so you don't be like, oh, I can just skip a bunch of time if I spend a bunch of gems. You'll be using your gems for other stuff later. Major thing that I would honestly suggest to save up a lot of your gems for is actually events. Events have been so gross in the department lately of upgrades that you should, for the most part, actually be saving most of your gems for events. But obviously there's, I have a tier list of stuff that you would want to buy, or if you're looking to buy. But if you're going free to play, there's, and straight free to play, there's a couple of things that you want, like the 3D crystal printer and the infinity hammer and some other things that I've gone over. But in retrospect, most of the bang for your buck is going to come from events, because some of the gear and some of the upgrades you get from events is just oh so disgusting. Not to mention saving up your money for limited time shops. Okay. Limited time shops are so god tier. Like this right here, this pendant, 1150, but holy shit. This is so disgustingly strong. It is not even a funny. This stuff, yeah, it's okay. I'm going to be honest, in comparison to this, it doesn't even come close. Like Cardifier, it's amazing. Okay. Awesome. Love that. This stuff, no. Dragonic Cauldrons, usually pick up every time if you can, because they don't show up awesome and often. And super tier ribbons, I mean, if it's free, absolutely. If not, I'd think twice. Cosmic balls, I'd probably avoid from that because most people aren't going to even benefit from cosmic balls. But like saving up your gems just for a potential chance of like emerald bling pendant, dude, we're talking about like 3 times more money from monsters. And then you can also upgrade this to give 6 times. This is like but the thing is like, this is a true multiplier. So it's not like you add it and then you add every other upgrade. No, it's you've added every single upgrade that you've ever gotten to money percent, and then it multiplies the necklace on top of everything. So it's giving you straight out of the box, super, super, super nasty. Because you got to remember, you get 1 times money. Add that 3, so you have 4 times money. And then you use the necklace pendant doubler that you can get in lab. Now that's technically giving you 8 times. So you're getting 8 times cash. True value, which is insane. Don't ever buy time candy. I said this before. I'm going to say it again. Anybody that buys time candy, actual bozo. Straight up. Don't do it. Buying time candy is bozo shit right there. You're a goofy ass parking in front of the store type mentality. Like your parents took Tylenol type shit. That being said, we're finished the first quest. I know I kind of went on a tangent there, but that's the premise of sailing. Before we continue, I'm sure I'm going to have some comments in this, even though this is pre-recorded and all this is made even before most of the comments are made, but still doesn't mean that you shouldn't comment. Helps the algorithm, and I'm getting back on the comment grind, so I usually answer to everybody. Now we're going on to gaming. So what exactly is gaming? Simply put, pick sprouts to get bits, and those bits to upgrade your garden. Over time, things will get more gamey. Go to the underground computer and upgrade the gaming garden 3 times. This is actually Divine Knight's specialty. So we go here. Oh, by the way, there's a little secret achievement here. Sneaky stealing, by the way. And before we actually dip into that, for doing the quest, you also get some bottled winds and you get some fertilizers. I would actually hold on to these just to start off. Just hold on to them. You're going to need them later. Obviously, refinery stamp. This is what helps boost your refinery. Super, super good. Pick this up if you can. But we need to start stockpiling on our World 5 stones. You should buy this as soon as you enter World 5 because World 5 stones have the same deal as the other stones, except I believe they are less shitty. Yeah, these have a 20% and these have a 30%. So now you have an extra 10% chance. Not only that, you get 3 extra defense and 2 extra main stat. But it's the same deal as the World 4 stones. It's main stat, okay? So, God, I got a lot of bullshit in here. I got 37 eggs. It's actually not bad. So we're going to throw all that stuff in there just for safekeeping for now. And then let's open up our guild gifts. Open those bad boys up. Maybe we get some gems. Hey, there it is, little 25 gem arena. Oh, and before we get started, look who it is. It is the star of the show. It is the up-and-coming World 8 boss. Here. Look at this. Look at how big she is getting. The World 8 boss is going to be an absolute menace. Whoa, 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 where are you going? Okay, well, oh, you're falling. You're falling. You're falling. Here, get it. She's okay, everybody. She's okay. She was just falling. I picked her up. You are never, why are you always this squirmy on camera? She's shy. She's squirmy on camera because she's shy, okay? She's like, no, I don't want to go back to work. It's like, you have to. You know, how else are you supposed to pay this overly expensive food bill? Anyways, she is getting very big. She was just when I first got her and showed her to chat, she was just a wee little baby. She was a little thing. Now she's a monster. She's supposed to be upwards of 15 pounds, by the way. That's gonna be a big cat. So gaming. So right now we can get a maximum of 3. Those lava sprouts that I show would give you a +1. I think right now you can get a maximum of 22, but don't expect to get a maximum of 22 anytime soon. You can get 20. 20 is achievable for you. 22 is like late super end game. We have fertilizer, which is upgrade your garden sprouts, and then we have a bunch of other stuff. The one that comes level 999 will actually be available when World 7 comes out. So it's actually not available right now. Let's start off. If you pick a plant, it will give you bits. These bits are your currency for gaming. Everything within this realm, except for this one, I don't exactly know, will be used as this currency. That is the only thing you got to worry about when it comes to this skill. Also, alchemy bubbles use bits sometimes, but they scale really high, so you won't end up using them very much. So the thing that you just need to worry about is bits. And then each bit, I'm getting 27, and I got a 9, okay? We take a look here. This is called your logbook, okay? So every single time you have a duration until the plants are ready to try to evolve. I believe, can you see this in the gaming tab? No. Okay, now you have 3 upgrades. You have sprouts, which the baseline bits give you amount. You have the amount time that takes to grow back. So every 10.6 hours will give you 1 growth cycle. And this can be considered a growth cycle. So you start off with no matter what with the base plant. Now, after that growth cycle has a potential chance to be able to grow to that one. And then a potential chance to grow to that one. And then a potential chance to grow to that one. And you can, I believe in total there's 7, but it requires you to unlock them later. Every time you unlock or get to a next growth cycle, it increases the bit amount. So more of the evolution that you have, the bigger the bit count. That's why I got 27 from some and I only got 9 from that other one, is because it was a higher tier evolution. So now that these won't grow back for a little bit. Now, rule of thumb, always, and I mean always if you can, buy this one. This one increases your amount of sprouts. So you can get up to 4. You can usually split up between sprouts, how much they give and how much they grow back. At the start, I would actually want to focus on growing back, just because you can get them a little bit faster. But you kind of want to spread it out a little bit, because now I just went from 1 bit to 10 bits, but I also went from almost 11 hours to almost 10 hours. This is super, super, super omega slow at the start, but it also gets disgusting later game. Like literally instant. You press it and they're instantly all back, all 20 of them. Boom, within a snap of your fingers. It is quick, 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 quick. And there's literally a button up here called Harvest All, and all you're doing is just click and Harvest All. It'll be literally right here, and you spend the whole entire time just spamming that button. I believe it is QQ. I want to say once you hit 1 QQ, you can correct me on this in the comments, but I believe it's 1 QQ. Then that's when you upgrade to 1 green bit, I believe. I believe it's 1 green bit. I'm gonna have to double check that. And then once you get, so that's 1,000 Q. So once you get a 1 Q, and then once you get 1 QQ green bit, I believe that gives you a red bit, and then it goes from 1 QQ red bit goes to purple bit. So right now, that's all I can really show you. Other than the logbook for evolution, you'll be able to unlock new plants. Once you hit level 10, which you unlock the genetics tab, which unlocks more plants, which do different things. Getting level 10 is pretty important. This is where you start ramping up crazy. But I would still suggest to save your gaming fertilizer. You're just gonna waste it, because later on, it will be way better for you than what it is right now. So just hold off. I know it's slow. I know you just want to get pumping, but you got a lot of other stuff to worry about at the moment in time. So we got that going. That's chilling. That's great. Every time you get a new addition to your logbook, you actually increase your multiplier, which is right there. So getting new evolutions will always be something you want to push for, but you only have to collect it once. It's each unique evolution. Let's talk about Divine Knights bonuses. 0% chance to get gaming AFK progress when you're claiming AFK games, but not from candy. This only affects this person, unfortunately. There is a bonus in this game where you can get the gaming bonus, but that is right now, this is kind of like your way. So that's basically if you claim AFK games with this character, there is a % chance that you will be able to claim that as the same time as gaming. So say if you're gone for 8 hours, you'll get 8 hours of loot with a potential chance of 8 hours of gaming. It's very nice. Next one, 1,000 hours played. This is just gaming XP for all your characters. It's shared once again. So if one character is level 115 gaming, everybody's level 115 gaming. It's not shared. So you only need, it's completely shared. So you only need to worry about one. Now, Bitty Litty will give you bits per gaming level, no matter which character you're on. If you're in your skilling tab, I would strongly suggest to use this. Okay, it's just increased bit gain, it makes things get done faster, and makes you start going and zooming a little bit, right? And it's based off gaming level. The higher gaming level you have, the more bits you get. Fun fact also, this right there, this talent specifically, was actually named from our guilds. Bitty Itty Army, Liddy Itty Army, and Itty Bitty Army. Hey, we got a little something a little bit special that happened within the lore since we played it for so long. So that's actually, that skill specifically is named after us. Obviously, he didn't want to make it super hyper specific that it was. He wanted to have a little bit of nuance to it, but there you go. So that's essentially gaming in a nutshell. Next, we will continue once it gets going a little bit more. We ended up getting a little bit more gaming fertilizer and a little bit more of the bottles of wind. Just stockpile those. Now, last skill is Divinity, which is also the Elemental Sorcerer's World 5 favorite. So for Divinity, you need to meditate on the altar to get Divinity points. Spend these points on offerings to unlock new divinities. Unlock the first Divinity by meditating at the Divinity altar on characters you don't play. Now, let's explain this. New feature, Divinity World 5 version of the lab. Put players here to meditate if they will earn points every hour. Spend these points for a chance to unlock new divinities, which are gods. Each player can connect to one divinity and their bonus. This skill takes a long time. Put your lane players here to gather points and go play the rest of the game on your awesome. This is the most brutal grind in the game next to lab, because it's just, you can't really do much other than just sit there and wait. One of the bigger grinds that I always suggest to do early. It's called the Divinity in the Lab grind. To start off is what you want to go for, okay, is you want to have level 40 Divinity, okay? Level 40 Divinity, and I'll explain in a moment. And then level 75 Lab, okay? Now, what's the reason that you want these both on every character? Now, the reason why is because if we take a look here and we go to styles, each level or each set of thresholds of levels unlocks a new style. This is how you generate divinity points in XP. You can see Kinesis will give you 1 divinity and 1 XP per hour. I know it seems like not a lot, but it's yeah, so you get 1 XP per hour, so that means to get level 2, it would be 15. Okay, this does get faster, I promise. And then we can see our divinity points on info to see how much we generate per character and in total, and then all the multipliers that add to it. So to start off, we only have Kinesis 1 per hour, and you do get more with the more levels that you obtain, by the way. The level 5 instantly just makes it easier. I believe you get 2 and 2. Now, the reason why we want to get to level 40 is because this one is called Tranqui. And what it does specifically is Tranqui gives you Divinity XP while not being in Divinity. So then you can go doing other stuff, but still be getting bonuses for it, which is huge. So you should, if your characters are not in Divinity, that's what they should be running no matter what. Now, I believe it doesn't work for active characters. I'm not 100% on that, but even with your active character, you still want to run Tranqui if you can. Just rule of thumb, just to make it safe, no matter what, always run Tranqui on your active characters, or if they're not in the Divinity, and then always run something that's going to give you the most value if you are in Divinity. Like, for instance, there's one that will give you like 8 Divinity and 8 XP per hour. But then there's also other ones that would be like, you get 1 XP, you get 0 Divinity points and 1 XP to each character, and then you can stack it with every character, so then you're getting 0 Divinity, but you're getting 10 XP per hour per everybody. That's also another strat that you can do, but just to keep it not complicated, you're going to run on Kinesis to level 5, then you're going to move on, and then you're going to keep on unlocking the new ones, and you want to check to see which one's going to be the best for you. But the main one that we want to aim for is level 40, is for Tranqui, so then we can stop doing the Divinity grind if we feel like that's necessary. Since we get 2 per hour, that means we can attempt a choice. The choice right now is known as, I think it's Snake Step, Snake Step, whatever. The fucking snake god. Okay. Basically, what this one does is it gives you accuracy, and I believe a little bit of defense, and then it gives you, if it's equipped, it gives you 30% AFK gains, I believe. So you have 2 things. You have what it gives you when it's connected to you, and also what it gives you as a blessing, which is just passive. And I believe the passive is, well, I don't know. I don't remember. But when we unlock it, I'll show you what I mean. So this is just more or less It will show up actually right here. It will give you the description right here, and then down below here, that is your blessing. And then up here is what it gives you when it's connected. Okay. And by connection, it means that you can only have one god at a time. You can only have one god connected at a time, unless two considerations. One, you have the bonus unlocked in, or I guess three considerations. You have your bonus unlocked in the thing called the hole, which is basically the Rift equivalent of World 5, which is something that we want to rush as soon as possible because getting multiple gods is very important. The other way is to own a thing known as Doot. Okay? So let's explain that quickly just because it's something that needs to be explained. So we go to Legacy and we take a look at the companions here, King Doot. Okay? We take a look at the bonuses. King Doot is all divinities from World 5 count as active. So that means instead of you're only allowed to have one god active, you have every single god active passively. This is massive, by the way. It's pretty strong. It's actually one of the most controversial things in this game, believe it or not. Yeah, I know, it's pretty crazy. This was actually, believe it or not, this was the update that actually I got death threats from, which is crazy, by the way. Absolutely insane. But I digress. I'm not even the developer. But anyways, people get too crazy about video games. I mean, the odds of getting it free to play are pretty damn rare. But essentially, what you need to do is you need to get to level 2 Divinity, by the way, in order for King Doot to work for that character. Just in case you do unlock King Doot and you don't understand why it's not working. So basically, that's another way to get more than one god activated. And then, wait, Hole's already unlocked by... Oh, that's weird. So Hole's already unlocked. So we should check that out after. This is going to be a long episode. So that's another way to do it. There's also another way on top of that, which is the Elemental Sorcerer. The Elemental Sorcerer passively, once you put a point into it, or a couple of points into it, can use two gods at the same time, thanks to a talent, which we will show here momentarily. Momo's being crazy. She's using the cat. She learned how to use the cat door, though. So those are three ways in order to use more than multiple gods. But just baseline, you're only allowed to use one god, and I believe you can only switch out your gods 2 times per week. I mean, kind of sucks, but once we get that menu, I'll explain more in detail, but unfortunately, we don't have that menu right now, so it's harder to explain. When it comes to divinity points. Now, what do you use your divinity points for? Well, you use your divinity points for a couple of things. You can use divinity points for increasing the blessing that you get with each god to make it a little bit stronger. You know, so the blessings could be like sailing speed, it could be scaled efficiency, it could be, I believe, even one of them is damage. There's a little bit that you can do with it, but other than that, you're not really doing much with the divinity points other than trying to get a new god. Now, this is where the RNG chance comes in. You have an option. You could try to roll the olive branch for 1%, a 1% chance to unlock the god. Or you could try to pay 25 to try the 25%. This has a chance to re-roll every single time you attempt it. And there's also an Elky bubble. There's a chance to refund your divinity points. What I usually do, rule of thumb, is I would like to roll the 1%, or if it's 5%, because the left side here will always have the lower rolls, like 1%, 5%, I believe 10%. And then this side will always have like 25%, 50%, or even 100%. What I usually suggest, and by the way, this number right here, every time you unlock a new god, scales in cost, so you need a higher divinity or more divinity point generation in order to make that. If I roll 1 to 5% chance or 10% chance just to get lucky, until this rolls 100%. Once that rolls 100%, you just save up for that and then roll the 100%, and then you have your god to be consistent. Or if you're feeling lucky, 50%. I don't usually ever roll 25%, and sometimes you just get super lucky. It's not even about that super luck, but 1% to 5% to 10% just to straight up roll it. So that way you're being cost effective with your divinity points, but at the same time, you're also guaranteeing yourself god progression within a reasonable amount of time. I don't usually like to gamble with this too much with the 25% or the 50%. But you also need to realize the 100% starts being super costly. So you'll basically just take your divinity points, roll until you get that 100%, and then you just save up for the 100%. The rule of thumb, that's how I like to do things. And how it works is you give that amount of point that it asks for the percent chance that it's going to give for. And then you pray. If you know you hit it, you'll start getting sparkles around this. And it'll start levitating. And then wherever it's supposed to be, it will show up. And then you can interact with it, and then you can consume it. Or not consume it, you can click on it. And then it'll show you what bonuses it gives you if you're connected to it, and what blessings it gives you, which is just a passive bonus. That's essentially Divinity. I would like to show you more. I could hop in the main account to show you, but I think we're just gonna go ahead and just avoid that for now. And that right there is Divinity. Now, we want to push Divinity. The reason being, I believe the god's right there. Not 100%, but I believe it's right there. Known as the Goat God, or I believe as Goharatu, which makes it so you get Divinity and Lab XP while in Lab. Huge, by the way. Massive. And it also gives you AFK gains, I believe. So while you're chilling in Lab, you're also generating Divinity XP and Divinity points if you have that certain meditation running. So then you can level both simultaneously. That's what makes this grind way less boring and a lot faster. But trying to get there is kind of bullshit. Oh, and another thing that's kind of bullshit is in order to get these bonuses, you have to unlock the gods. Dude acts like once you get Divinity level 2, all those gods count, even without unlocking them. The only thing that you can't do is upgrade their bonus. But other than that, dude acts like all those are active, even though you don't have them unlocked. Yeah, I know. So if you manage to roll a dude, or if a person is just wailing and just buys it straight up, just rolls out dude, that's why they're probably substantially faster than you for that sole reason, because they get all those bonuses. Some of the bonuses are really good, by the way. So that's Divinity in a nutshell. So you need to kind of make a decision. Usually what I do, hands down, is I take a look and it's like, man, oh man, I've got a lot of good stuff on here. For the first little bit, fuck 2x skills. Divinity is such an important push. It is a ridiculously important push. Now you'd be like, oh man, I'm gonna lose out on so many of those hours. Don't care. We're gonna be focusing on pushing and Divinity. If I had Dude, I would actually just leave the whole day, just having everybody on Divinity so then I could proc Dude on my main character and then just start zooming. So we're gonna get everybody up here, hop into Divinity right away. Now the reason is there is a earlier god other than the Goat God that is called, that's the Bear God. I don't quite remember its name, but it's Big Blue Bear. And what it does is it makes it you count as being in the lab without needing to be in the lab. Obviously you don't get lab XP, but you're still able to be connected to like the 2x kills and stuff like that. So very, very important for characters like doing like, yeah, for instance, you have your wizard doing stamp farming. Okay, you want your wizard to be able to still contribute in lab. So that's why you throw him in there. For instance, if you were, actively farming pushing and you don't feel like you need to run Mantis, which is 2x kills, you run Bear God, or you really need that lab node bonus. That is another thing that you can do, right? So Divinity is super important. And before we do that, let's just quickly go over this. This right here, polytheism, is where you get the second god bonus. Now, god not unlocked, second link, you have to have the god unlocked in order to get the bonus, but every time you level it up, and it also gives you a passive bonus to Divinity points, which is great. Every time you level it up, it will give you a different rotation of god. So, and then if you ever want to degrade it, I believe you stand right here. This is where the elephant god is, I believe. Could be over here. It's either one of the spots. And then that's how you de-level it down, or you can use the bonus from the vault. Also works. Now every time you level up, it'll cycle through all the gods, and then it'll reset and go back and recycle all the gods, but you'll still get more increased Divinity points. So you still want to get this as super high, but if depending on what god you want is depending on what level you want. That's why standing on top of Omnifu, aka the elephant god, is good for that specific interaction. Next one, Divinity XP for all, multiplicative.
gonna be completely honest, for this moment in time right now, just slap that on there. I mean, wisdom doesn't do jack shit. This right here, 43% Divinity XP. It is so hard to get Divinity XP. It is actually stupidly hard to get Divinity XP because there's such little things that actually affect Divinity. So now I can get 2 Divinity XP point, or 2 XP per Divinity just because of that. Perfect. It's great. If they're just chilling in lab or doing something that's not important, like if you're not in like skilling or anything, just throw it on shared beliefs. Boost that Divinity XP because you want to push that Divinity as hard as you can. So that's really good. And then there's the God ranks, which you get a % damage for all characters per God rank. You need to unlock all gods first before this matters. Because once you unlock all gods, then you unlock a thing called God rank. Every time is the same deal as unlocking gods. Once you get God rank, higher the God rank means more Divinity XP you get. And that's essentially what it is for Divinity. So if you've noticed with the elite class skills, they don't really affect all that much for the World 5 skills, comparative to, say, for instance, the World 4 skills, or the World 3 skills, or even the 2 and the 1 skills. Not even close to the same amount. I would say World 5 is actually pretty independent when it comes to the whole grind for their specific skills. It was more of a, by the way, World 5 is still one of the most enjoyable worlds for me next to World 6. I loved World 5. World 4 was a slog. World 5 was awesome. Very, very fun. World 6, also a treat. How much they're generating. So right now, we're generating 11 per hour. So every hour we can pop this. Obviously, I'm going to hop out with this guy so he doesn't do that. And then as you can see, he gets 2 XP gain thanks to the helping hand of shared beliefs with that upgrade. So instead of us having to wait 15 hours, well, we only have to wait 7.5. I would arguably say a huge increase in that regards. So now they just chill there. By the way, keep in mind, it's the same thing like Lab. You will not generate Divinity XP while sitting there actively, so don't even think about it. It's a completely AFK thing. Sailing doesn't do jack shit for you if you're just sitting there active. It doesn't make it faster, it doesn't do any of that. The only real active skill that you're going to be dealing with in this is gaming. So then we got that. So now I believe we need to wait to unlock the first Divinity. So that's going to take a little bit of time. So that's essentially all of the skills in a nutshell. Actually, let's quickly discuss Slab since we're here. By the way, that's World 6, that juicy World 6. This is the Slab. This shows every single unique item that you've obtained in this game. And this pretty much has everything. From dungeon items, to stamps, to bags, to storage chests, to fishing lines, to recipes, star talent books, statues, NPC tokens, upgrade stones, boss keys, random miscellaneous event items, time candy, trophies, you name it, armor, weapons, helmets, whatever. Whatever your heart desires, it's probably on the Slab. Right now, Slab doesn't do anything. So it's basically like a unique timestamp where once you've collected one of it, it adds to the Slab. Slab is important, okay? Slab is the same mechanic as Looty McShooty, as we know from the Hunter. The more that you've collected, the more damage you get. Except this around is a count-wide bonuses. So at the top, when we actually get to that point and get those upgrades, you'll see bonuses right there. It'd be something like sailing speed or damage percent or even like bit percent, stuff like that. Obviously, we don't have any of those unlocked right away. Once we do, they'll be like, you get X amount of bonuses past 500 slab or some random shit like that, or getting going with that scenario. That's good. That's good. And I believe there's even alchemy bubbles as well. Shocker. Alchemy. Everything in life is alchemy for some weird reason. Your dog ran away and you feel sad? Alchemy. You need a girlfriend? Alchemy. You wonder why the world's going to shit? Well, alchemy. Famous words from Walter White, by the way. Yes. In the end, you just got to break in bed. So essentially, that's just how Slab works. You want to collect a little bit of everything. Now, there's some like nuanced pieces. By the way, there is event items in this which suck balls, to say the least. Like this one, for instance, the pre-crime box can only be achieved from the level up gift, farming a specific... yeah, it's a level up gift before you've done a specific quest. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it's somewhere around there. Yeah, you have to be like pre-gold request line, which is stupid. These are like all dungeon items, common RNG items, food. There's even like your armor that you get within the dungeon. Also like the weapons that you can lock within the dungeon. So it actually requires you to progress party dungeons. There's a lot. And there's a lot of things to collect. So that's essentially Slab in a nutshell. Doesn't really do much right now, but it's definitely something to look at. But we basically need to accumulate everything that we've learned so far and work at it to get to a point where we can just make everything compound on each other just so we can push World 5 and be that much closer to World 6. Now, the nice thing is when Lava releases each new world, he nerfs the previous world. So if you're currently watching this in your World 6 and you're just watching it because you're addicted and watching IdleOn content, first of all, hello, good to see you. Thank you for the support, even though you know most of this stuff. Second of all, every world previous to updates are actually pretty difficult. Now, they get better, easier with the skills, but still they have a level of difficulty. From where I first pushed all the worlds to now, it's a night and day difference. Just the catch-up mechanics that came out to be and all the quality of life stuff that is added up. But the grind, I would argue that the grind from World 4 to World 5, from World 5 to World 6 is actually less. It's also depending on your RNG as well. Now you'd be like, bro, you're yanking my leg that you're full of shit. I would argue now that we don't have to spend the time farming out our elite classes and getting the chances, good RNG chance for all the cool bonuses and strong bonuses that we receive within World 5 is, depending on your RNG chance, is arguably way better. Hands down. Not even kidding. It's a little bit slower as in the grind priority, but the push priority, because even when World 7 comes out, no matter what, you're going to be using most of your candy to push to World 6, because this is where we're going to be using a good majority of our candies specifically for pushing World 5. We're going to try to wait till Mantis God before we push, but in hindsight, you are going to want to use most of your time candy to push World 6 because, so I don't know what happened with the thought process here, but we went from literally micro gains to World 6, everything's a multiplier. Damage multi. Shit tons of multi-kill, insane refinery progress, max library talents, crazy accuracy and defense, like everything. I mean, everything just went crazy mode when we hit World 6. The bonuses are disgusting. The skills in there are even worse. The upgrades that you get, just the quality of life stuff you get from World 6, just makes your IdleOn experience where it gets actually super, super addicting. I would argue once you start getting the really good bonuses in World 6, you're so hooked. And yes, this game can easily become an addiction. Trust me, there's a reason why I didn't push, or I haven't been pushing my main account super hard, because I'm having a bit of a detox. I'm detoxing myself because not only do I not want to be God mode, I also know how addicting this game is. I mean, I've played it for 4 years quite consistently, and I have over 25,000 hours. I know how easily this game can turn into an addiction. That's why I don't take myself as a super hardcore player, and I've never referenced myself as a hardcore player. I referenced myself as a filthy casual that has a decent amount of knowledge on the game that will be able to give you some help. Hell yeah, getting that gray guy is huge. But yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing. So a little bit of detox, and honestly, believe it or not, IdleOn detox is actually not that bad because you're still getting gains. You just do something that is crazily AFK. For instance, what I'm doing right now is everybody's farming nothing. So I'm going to finally get the nothing trophy. I've been on this copium for way too many years. I have yet to get it, and I was first in the leaderboard for way too long, and I still don't have it. I have used a godsend amount of candy, and I'm not happy about it. Detoxing on IdleOn is sometimes a good thing. That's the enjoyment of AFK. You'll also notice a lot of people do this on the in-between, waiting for the next world, and when the other stuff has basically ran out, because Lava's one developer. So when he has his mind set on working on the new world, don't expect a bunch of updates. So if you're a person that has played the game so long, you're basically playing update by update. So going for a detox, because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't give a shit about leaderboards. I've never given a shit about, well, that's not true. Sometimes I've cared about leaderboards, like being the top of the nothing trophy or the most nothing hours. But other than that, I haven't really cared. I just play the game for enjoyment. I've learned to play games for enjoyment. I am sometimes a meta player. I do like meta playing here and there. Like, for instance, I've been playing the new D4 Season 10. Still not a good game, or not a huge game, but I've been enjoying my time. I follow guides on it, or what build to run, essentially. But I mean, it really depends on what you're really looking for in the game. And if the mechanic's annoying enough, I do like to look at guides for it as well. But anyways, let is do our free roll, because we have not done a free companion. I know you can hear people raging in the chat. Use your free companion, damn it. I want to see you roll a dupe. So, the main ones we want to be looking for are Doot, obviously, Rift Slug, Ram. Those are the 3 I want. Crystal Custard would be cute, but it's not a priority. The main one I want, actually, is Ram. Ram has such huge quality of life. Once you have it and then don't have it anymore, it's night and day difference. As long as you don't give me trash. Okay. So, okay. I mean... Okay, so Bloke gives us 20% all skill XP.